everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a super simple makeup look that's not only really easy to do, but I'm using only affordable products. I'm going to be showing you guys everything, including the face, brows, eyeshadow, lips, absolutely everything, and I'm really excited to show you guys, so I'm just going to get started. Okay, so I'm going to start by priming my face, and for that I'll be using the Skin Primer Moisturize It from The Body Shop, and it just looks like this. I actually hauled it in a video probably 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to be taking a dime-sized amount for each side of my face. And the great thing about this primer is that it sets really fast, and it's also super moisturizing, so the foundation that I'm going to be using next is going to go on super smooth. Okay, so before I apply my foundation, I'm actually going to be doing concealer first, and the concealer that I'm going to be using is the Maybelline Master Conceal, and I'm in the shade 10 Fair, and I'm just going to be applying that with a small concealer brush. And to blend it out, I'm going to be taking the Miracle Complexion Sponge from Real Techniques. Okay, so now that my concealer is blended out, we're going to move on to foundation, and for foundation I'm going to be using the L'Oreal True Match Lumi, and I'm in the shade W12, and I'll be doing the same thing, applying that with my Real Techniques sponge. And I'm just going to be dotting it all over my face to make sure that I get an even application, and for each side I'm only using one pump. You definitely don't need more than that, or else it will look cakey, and that's not something that you want. So one side done, one more pump, and we'll do the other side. Okay, so now that my foundation is blended out super smooth, I'm just going to quickly set my under eyes, and for that I'm going to be using the NYX HD Studio Finishing Powder and just applying that with a fluffy brush underneath my eyes where I put the concealer. Okay, so to finish off my face, I'm going to be doing a little bit of blush and contour. For contour, I'm not going to be doing anything super intense. I'm just going to be taking the bronze shade from the same blush duo that I'm using right now, just to do a little bit of definition on the sides of the cheek as well as maybe the forehead. And the blush duo that I'm actually going to be using that has the blush as well as the sort of bronzy shade in it is called Tulip, and it's from BH Cosmetics, and it's super affordable. I believe I only paid $4 for this. Unfortunately, you do have to buy it online, but everything on their website is super awesome. I have a lot of products from them already, and I really like them, so you should definitely go and check out BH Cosmetics. Okay, so just taking a angled brush, I'm going to dip into that bronzy shade and just sort of do a really light application in the areas that you would typically contour. I'm also going to be taking it very, very lightly down the sides of my nose. I'm not going to be doing anything super crazy for highlight. I'm just going to be taking a regular face powder and applying that in the areas that I want to be a little bit more bright, because at the moment my nose is looking a little dark, so I want to go down the center of the nose as well as the top of the cheekbones just to bring those areas out. And for that I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me pressed powder, and I'm in the shade 110 if anyone was curious. Okay, so for blush, I'm going to be using the exact same blush duo that I had mentioned earlier, but instead of taking the more bronzy shade, I'm going to be taking this shade right here, which I'm not sure how it's showing up on camera, but it looks like a super almost neon coral, which originally I will say looks terrifying to put on your face, but you just go super light and it ends up looking really nice. So like I said, if you use a really light hand, you can get a really nice application and the blush doesn't look too heavy, even though in the pan it looks intense. So moving on to brows, I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer, and one thing I really like about this is you don't have to sharpen it, and the end of it is super tiny, so it's really easy to get a precise application. And on the other end it actually has a spoolie, so you don't have to go digging around for another spoolie, you have it right on the end. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking the spoolie and brushing my brow hairs in an upward direction, and then just taking the pencil and following the natural line of my brow. After that, I'm just going to brush the hairs down and do the exact same thing, following the natural line of my brow, but just on the top. So after I've done the top line and the bottom line, I'm just going to fill in any areas that are kind of sparse, so it doesn't look like I just have two lines drawn on my brows. After I finish filling them in, I'm just going to brush them into the place that I want them to sit and just see where I'm at, and if there's any issues, I will fix them in just a second. So the shape is looking pretty good, but I'm just going to take the spoolie and brush them out, kind of blending out the product so it doesn't look as harsh. Okay, so I'm really liking how that looks. I'm just gonna do the second brow and then we will move on to setting those with a brow gel. Okay, so now that I've finished filling in my brows, I'm just gonna set them with a brow gel. And the brow gel that I'll be using is the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer. And this is just a tinted brow gel with little tiny fibers in it. So I've heard it's actually very similar to the Benefit Gimme Brow, which I've personally never tried, but I definitely like this one because it's more affordable. Okay, so my brows are done and we are ready to move on to the eyeshadow. Okay, so before I apply the actual shadow, I'm going to be using a primer first, and I'm going to be using the Essence I Love Stage eyeshadow primer, and this was only, I believe, $3 from my local drugstore, so it's super affordable and it actually works really well. So for eyeshadow, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Blush Nudes palette. This is a super cute palette and it's also really affordable. I'm only going to be using about 3 shades in it because, like I said earlier, we're keeping it super simple. Okay, so the first shade I'm going to use is the color that's right here, and I'm going to be putting that all over the lid. So I'm not doing anything super complicated, just applying it all over the entire lid space until we get to the crease. We're not going to be doing anything super complicated, so don't worry if you make any mistakes because they are super easily fixable. Okay, so that's pretty much it for that color, and next I'm going to be taking the color that is right beside it and using that in my crease. So I'm just going to be putting that right in the crease, and I'm not doing anything very specific, literally just like go in windshield wiper motions and you will be totally fine. Okay, so now that I've got the colors that I want on my lid and my crease, I'm just going to be taking a fluffy brush with no product on it and blending that out so there's no super harsh lines. Okay, so last but not least, I'm going to be applying this super light shade right here to my brow bone just to give it a bit of a lift and some contrast from the dark crease color. Okay, so unfortunately my camera just died on me, but luckily the only thing that you missed is me applying my mascara. So the eyeshadow is done, everything is done for the eyes, now we can move on to the lips. Okay, so for lips I'm just going to start by applying a lip liner, and the lip liner I'm going to be using today is an Essence lip liner, and it's in the color 12 Wish Me a Rose. So I'm just going to be lining my lips and filling them in just a little bit, and then I'm going to be applying a gloss on top. Okay, you guys, so that's pretty much it. Super simple and super affordable. If there's anything else you guys want to see from me, just leave that in the comments down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like affordable makeup looks, and I will see you guys next week. Bye everyone!